In a world that is so connected, we're connected to social media, we're connected to people around the world. Why do you believe people feel so disconnected, Paul?
For me, Teresa, I feel like they've forgotten the bigger picture of what life here on planet Earth is really all about. And I know we're going to dive into that. But when I take it so seriously that I lose myself and my own sense of my own well-being inside of all that, then everything, I'm at the beck and call of everything. Everything outside controls me and so forth. And so, I know in my work, we talk about, the energy of radical self-loyalty. I need to reconnect with who I am, number one, take care of myself, number one, and then I could truly get out in the world and to help take care of the family and be of service, do my work, and so on. So there's this balance of having concern for all that's out there, which I do, and not getting so caught up in it that I get lost in the maelstrom and the hurricane of life.
Wow, yeah, I totally agree with that. And that's what I'm seeing out in the world for sure. So I'd like you to share who you are and what is your service in the world.
Thank you. Yes. Dr. Paul Kellogg, I'm in Des Moines, Iowa. And for the last several decades, I have been touring the world, doing local workshops, uh, international tours, helping people to demystify and bring some common sense to all those mystical experiences we have. Dreams that come true, intuitions, visions that we might have. I was very sensitive, very empathic, and I wanted to understand that. And as I had experiences that showed me that there was more to life than what meets the eye, I started to actually take training on how to give it back. Not trying to be perfect in myself, but just show people the techniques and tools that have been helping me to grow. And I continue to learn and grow every day. There's no end to it, Teresa. I welcome it, bring on the adventure. But that's what we do. One-to-one coachings, workshops, online classes to help people really connect with their own soulness, their own intuitive nature. And as your show it so beautifully demonstrates, to enthusiastically live life with a sense of purpose and adventure and allow that spiritual nature to have as much command of our lives as the physical nature seems to want to.
That's so exciting, Paul. And I know, you've been here, a few decades on this planet in this
Yes,
lifetime.
yes,
So
yes, I can tell.
a little bit. So I'd love for you to share, how did you come into this? What was the first exploration of, oh, there's more than just what I see right here in this body?
Well, a great way to start this because I was, as I said, I was very sensitized as a child. Not the hurt sensitivity, but the sensitivity of that intuitiveness about things. I knew things. I felt things. I had lots of experiences that I didn't understand as a young kid at the time. Sometimes my friends, when I would blurt stuff out because I was having this vision or this knowingness, I told my best friend he was going to break up with his girlfriend, and shortly, and 2 weeks later he did, but he blamed me for that because he said, "Well, how would you know that? How you must have done something to cause that." And I had a little farm, and I was always telling my dad when the calves were going to be born, and we need to get down to the barnyard to help Bessie the cow because she was in trouble. Things like that would always show up. And then and I was always reading my mother's books, things like Edgar Casey and, all those kinds of psychic things. I read the Bible twice before I was 20 years old. I was just insatiable, wanting to know and understand life. I knew that stuff was happening. When I was 16, my father passed on. It was very sudden. And we had some mystical experience with that. My mother was having dreams that something was happening to the family. He was leaving the family the night before he passed on, made his transition. I had a premonition that he disappeared. He was there in the living room reading his paper. Suddenly he was gone. And it just felt really funny throughout the rest of the evening. Woke up in the middle of the night just feeling weird. And of course, he had passed on early in the morning. And I remember standing there at the doorway looking at this body in the bed. And I turned to my mother and I said, "That's not my father. He's not here. He's gone." And it was shortly after that that not only was my mother wanting to search more deeply herself, but she wanted to, especially for me, being the oldest, she wanted to help me with these things that was going on. And I heard a lecture in this organization called the Inner Peace Movement, and it was a game changer. Suddenly, suddenly everything became ordinary. I didn't feel crazy. I didn't feel out of the ordinary. We did techniques to relax, and I just felt goosebumps and chills and kind of this instant relaxation that I never experienced before. And it just led me to this calling, I guess, if you will, that I wanted more of that. So I went out to youth camp, actually here in Osceola, Iowa, just south of Des Moines, when I was 18 years old, and felt this teamwork, felt this connection to guidance. People were talking about angels or guides, and I could feel all that and sense all that, wanted more. And invariably, we didn't even know what was happening. We were just naturally being trained on how to give these lectures and share. If we wanted to, we didn't have to come, but I was always there. And during that 18-year-old and 19-year-old retreats during the summer, I learned how to give the lecture that I heard from that guy. And when I was 19, I was on my first radio show and did my first lecture in Anderson, Indiana. Had two little old ladies, Teresa, show up. You know, they were walking in their cane. I mean, you know, I thought, okay, well, this is going to be interesting. And I was supposed to give a lecture for an hour and a half because they paid their dollar to hear, right? So I gave the lecture, looked at my watch, and I talked for 15 minutes. And I'm going, oh my God, what am I going to do? I'm supposed to really give something here. So the only thing I do is say, well, do you have any questions? And of course they did, because I hadn't said all that much. An hour later, we were all done. They were smiling and happy, and they came up to me and they shook my hand. Each one of them shook my hand and said, "Mr. Kellogg, you did a great job. We wish you all the success in your work." And I never saw them again after that. So there was
Wow.
this energy of compulsion of moving forward, impelling me to do this more. And that was the beginning of my coaching career and facilitation of workshops career. And it continues to this day. Last thing I'll say, Susan and I, my wife, grew up. I mean, we met in this network of people, this community of people. Have 5 children. We raised our kids in all of this. They have their own versions and ways that they work with it, but it's become a lifestyle to really be this every day as much as possible.
We exist in a highly intellectual world, and often the feeling part where your inner wisdom lies gets left out. There's a way to feel more in balance with all parts of yourself. This way is by accessing a spiritual bigger picture of who you are as a soul. Check out the link in the show notes to access a free video series created by the Wayshowers College to support your journey and moving through this game of life. Your intellect and feeling parts will love it.
It's interesting because I'm always in awe of how many of us come in and this is what you've come to do. Like, I guess I think of it like I think of people that are like basketball players or movie stars, and how, they play an instrument and in a band, and they just knew, and their whole life was that. And sometimes I look at my life and go, well, I've done so many different things, but like you, I mean, of course, you started a lot earlier than me, but there's been this strand of, of being backed by spirit, listening to spirit, moving with spirit, and then later on understanding more about who I am as a soul. But it's just so fascinating, Paul, to really recognize that, well, yeah, I'm not a movie star or a rock band or whatever, but I've come in like you. This is the work you're doing.
I know one of our colleagues talks about that quite a bit. I've come to do me, and no one else can do me. I have that unique purpose and focus in my life that I'm always going to be traveling with. And that statement that I hear so often, I love the statement, is I'm perfect for what I've come to do. I don't have to be a giant oak tree. I can be the acorn that's growing out of the ground, That's perfect as it is. It's an oak tree. It's just building its momentum of greater oak tree-ness. So the thing that I appreciate what you're saying, Teresa, is that I knowing a little bit about, our friendship and our background here is everything that we go through is actually a spiritual journey, because as that soul or spirit, I'm energy. I'm here to learn and grow. Planet Earth is like a great school. So whether I attach the word spiritual to that challenging situation, if you have people, and I know you've interviewed people, I have too, in our network, where now that they look back on that, some of them say, I wouldn't change a thing because
Absolutely.
it made me what I am today. It's helped me to now be of service. So whether you're starting at 10 or 18 years old or 50 or 75, it doesn't make any difference, because those experiences are the wisdom that helps me to help even that one person. I can remember this story I heard about this lady who got involved in a sales program. She just told one person, and that one person told thousands of people. This one person to thousands. So you never know how that's going to pay itself forward. And so I trust that. Sometimes I've coached people and I don't see them for 30 or 40 years. Suddenly, somehow they circle back around with Facebook and social media. Hey, do you remember this? And I go, I'm really sorry I don't, but they've never forgotten it. So that trust in myself. Doubt is a nemesis that needs to get flushed down the toilet, because there's no reason to doubt it. All I need to do is just learn from it, grow from it, and make it a part of my next venture. And I think that's the biggest thing that I feel like we're helping people with, is to erase that self-doubt energy, because we're trained. That's how we're trained. If you look at little kids, they don't doubt themselves. Even if you say no, they still feel good about it, and they're going to try and sell you on it no matter what.
Exactly. Well, and so the key that comes to me about this conversation right now is part of it is purpose. That really drives me crazy, Paul, because there's so many people out there. I don't know what my purpose is. I don't know what I'm here to do. I'm like, dude, you're doing it. You're in a physical body. You're on the planet. You're in action every single day. So what is your take on purpose?
I love to tell the story about the famous comedian, he had a TV show, Jerry Seinfeld, because 2 or 3 years ago, he was the commencement speaker for the seniors, the graduating class at Duke University. And he got to this place where he was expressing his thoughts on purpose. And his statement was, I know a lot of you out there, you're trying to figure out your purpose, why are you here and all that. I want you all to forget it. Forget trying to find your life purpose. Find out what fascinates you. That sense of intrigue, that sense of desire. And again, that soulness in us, it moves by desire. And again, I'll refer to the little children who they see something and you have to literally physically stop them from going after that bug or picking, smelling the flower or diving into the dirt, because they want to be, their desire impels them to move forward. So that passion, that energy, that thinking outside the box, what's going to be adventuresome? Even if I have an 8 to 5, great. What are you going to do from 6 to 7? That could be cool, that could be different, that could be unique. Or drive to work every day a different way. Who knows what you're going to see? Rearrange the furniture in your house. It could be anything that allows that joy and fascination to take shape. And that will be a strong clue for what your mission can be about, what you want to begin to laser focus in on. And I know that's true for me, because my life continues to rise in its own excellence. I want more of it all the time, not a result, not the journey. I want to have that feeling that I'm always spiraling up. And my statement, I don't know if you've heard me say this, Teresa, to boldly go where I have not yet gone.
Love it. Star
Go
Trek.
for it.
That's wonderful. So you mentioned a word earlier that actually when I tune into spirit, I kind of, get some insights about what they would like me to kind of share and some words. I
Right.
got the word trust. So Paul, I noticed that that's one of the things that most people really share with me, that they don't really trust what they're picking up on, what they're getting in their mind's eye, what they're sensing, they're knowing, because everyone has this ability. So what is your take on working with that trust and trusting it?
Spiritual growth is not a race. It's a gradual progression. You do not have to spend 24 hours a day working on it in order to feel more inner peace, deeper connection to your soul purpose, and feeling more confident in your daily life. The journey is all about balancing your physical and spiritual worlds. These two worlds are supportive for embracing the foundations of the real you. By just investing minutes a day for your spiritual part as you would invest in your house or other areas of your life. To gather more direction, clarity, and a new layer of inner awareness, check out the ebook set created by the Wayshowers College. Link and discount code in show notes.
I think that there's a lot of things that we do in our work, for example, where people will get an intuitive impression for someone else. And then we have a group, let's say, of 8 people, and 7 other people are getting impressions for Paul. And then when Paul shares back the feedback of, wow, this word really stood out to me, or this, and in that atmosphere, you just let it come. Don't edit it. Whatever word, phrase, whatever it is, just say it. Because this is a safe environment. Nobody's judged me. Everything stays inside this group. No judge, live and let live. So let's just practice. Let's just have fun. And what's cool is when the feedback shows up, these people that are gun shy, have been shy, they didn't want to be judged, they start to see that there's some accuracy in what they're picking up because that person related to it. The trust factor explodes because they did it once. Whoa, maybe I could do it again. So there's a piece of this of just playing, having fun, practicing, not worrying about if something doesn't pan out to be true, because there's a myriad of things that could have affected that. Someone else could have been suddenly thinking strongly about you, and your empathy is picking that up, fragmenting that clear voice inside. So I always tell people, don't second guess it. Don't try and make these sudden, big, giant decisions on, I'm going to invest $400,000 in this new house. Start with the little things. The man on the front porch today, all those little things that help you to build that kind of confidence. And also to remember, Teresa, the times in the past where it has shown to be valuable. And it could be a piece of it. Maybe it wasn't all of it. It could be a piece of it. The other thing that I suggest that people do is don't try and separate out your intuition as though it's completely blocked over here and has nothing to do with anything else. Common sense, our past experiences, when we're in meditation, that joyful, peaceful energy, that's all a part of being intuitive, being spiritual. So it's like a language of the soul, that goes beyond intellect or reasoning. So the one way to know that it's from my intellect is if it seems like it's out front and there's a little bit of a hype or an agitation to it. It's like there's a hope, there's a wish, that kind of feeling. My intuitions always come very calm, very relaxed, like that still small voice. The picture kind of flows in there. I can feel a sense of peace. I can feel a sense of happiness. It makes me feel enthusiastic. So there's something there with that can help the trust factor. And the final thing, I'm always going to learn to trust more and more and more and more. It always evolves. and grows. So there's, again, the oak tree continues to get bigger. It continues to create more rings as years go by. It continues to build itself, and we're like that.
I'm so glad you mentioned that, Paul, because I feel that people, I mean, I myself have done this in the past where, well, I've run to other people for things that I could get myself, but then not giving grace or not honoring the fact that it is a progression. Like you said, I mean, like until our last breath, we will be learning and growing and experiencing. And I think people just really, they're in their intellect too much. And also it's because of the society, right? Everything is quick now. Quick.
Yep.
Why am I not psychic? Why am I not this? And so I think that's a big part that I really take notice for myself. And also those that I know around me is that it's part of the journey. And it may not even be this lifetime. It might be 5 lifetimes down the road. I mean,
Absolutely.
we don't know because that's just part of the game too. But it's definitely, honoring that journey and really taking a breath and just going, okay, this is exactly where I need to be in this moment of time.
And building on that, living a breath at a time. The more relaxed I am, the more clear that sensitivity speaks to me. And you can tell if you're worried or if you're feeling guilty, or if there's something that is it's reactionary, it's a fear, whatever, that intuition is going to have a very faint voice to it. But if I'm relaxed and positive, here's a powerful thing that's hard for people. Don't care what the answer is when you're asking for inspiration, because there may be a whole different, unique aspect to everything. I was talking with my daughter Sandra earlier. We were doing a recording, and she was talking about going to this particular destination on the freeway, and she decided, because she saw kind of the red line on GPS, it tells you there's big traffic, decided to take an alternative route. Well, that ended up, and it felt right to take it. Her intuition said, yeah, go that direction. And the traffic started to back up there too. And so she finally just had to release and let it go. But she said because she made that decision, there was a sign that, like those road signs where they advertise different things. Right as she went to that sign, there was this announcement for this particular event that she'd been wondering about for a long time and trying to find information. Boom, right there was the information, because she didn't know that was going to happen. Right. So sometimes your intuitions are going to guide you to these things that are in your bigger picture that you've suddenly been asking for a while. You forgot it, but now they're leading you towards that, including the little fun miracle things that start to happen.
Oh no. Troubleshoot. Oh no. There we are. Boy, you got to love it. Okay.
I was telling you before we started live, technology has just been off the charts wild this past couple weeks. Things shutting down, weird things happening with key fobs. A couple people told me both at the same time their key fob to different cars and their house went off. They weren't working. An hour later, they started working again. It's just been weird. So thank you, everybody, for being patient while we get back on.
Well, and I hope it's working right, because it just went right back in to record. So
it did. Well, it was still recording when you were off.
Oh, okay, great.
It showed that it was, yeah.
Okay, and I wonder too. I know we're having like a lot of solar flares and energy from the sun too, so that also plays a part in all this. Absolutely. But I'm sorry. So go ahead and continue, Paul, with your story with Sandra.
Well, and just the point of that whole story was that she, in the midst of this traffic everywhere, discerning what her right time and place was to be, she moved out. It suddenly looked like it wasn't going to work, but she ended up getting there close to being on time anyway. And she got this message that she wasn't expecting to get because she trusted her instincts to go a different route. So that whole energy of it is an adventure, and just to have fun with it, be patient with it. a lot of things that I know about my intuitive natures and working with inner guidance and calling on the universe or spirit guides, whatever people believe of that, is learning to be specific about what it is that I'm going after, so that when the universe opens up, it's not just a vague opening. Here, Paul, here's what can happen, and learning to always check and recheck, because as a free will soul, I could be doing things tomorrow that impact what it was my direction was down the road. So things may have shifted. So not always is my intuition going to predict the perfect future, because there's so, like you said at the very beginning, so much going on in the world that person out in traffic who makes a decision suddenly out of the blue, my intuition may not have predicted that, but now traffic slows down. So I have to work with that. Just allow myself to, I'm in this world, Teresa, I'm not of it. So two worlds at once, spiritual, physical world, but I am in it. So I need to use the energy of my planet Earth experience as that testing ground for practicing my intuition, for being more relaxed in this particular situation.
It's interesting because, what I hear you talking about is basically making it practical. And I think for myself, whenever I talk with other people that have experiences also, they don't recognize that these things happen, the hunches, insights, and impressions happen every day, and how many, probably hundreds we get that we don't even, catch at the right timing. But recognizing that, like Sandra just, going, okay, I'm going to go this way. And then there's a message on a billboard that she's been waiting for. And so it's just beautiful that, that we're out there sharing how to make this practical.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, the thing that the word psychic comes from the word psyche, Psyche. If you look that up in the dictionary, the derivative, the origination of that, it means breath of God or soul or spirit. There's different versions of it, but essentially that's what that is. So I don't have psychic gifts. I'm a psychic being. It's natural for me to be that way. It's unnatural to not be that way. People sometimes come to me, Paul, I just feel all this stuff. I want to turn it off. I want to just leave. Remember that movie Green Mile?
Yes.
And the big, tall African-American guy, he wanted to die because he says it's like glass in here, boss. It hurts. Mm-hmm. People want to turn it off. There's no way to turn it off. You can try and ignore it, but you're still gonna feel things. You still sense things. You could be a hermit living out in the North Michigan woods. You're still gonna feel things. The world is around you. So what I can do is to raise my own energy vibe, increase the frequency of my own beingness, so that I discern better my sensitivity, rather than working against me, because I'm picking up all this stuff and reacting to it, sometimes not even knowing that it's not me to begin with. Could be a person 1,000 miles away thinking about me, praying for me, and I feel all this pressure. Mm-hmm. So that then it becomes a tool that works for me. I'm starting to honor my spirituality and my intuitiveness as it's a way of living, it's a way of being. Our intellect isn't trained to think that way, but our heart is. This is where that intuitive nature really lies, the feeling, true concern, true feeling, loving nature. That's where that intuition spawns out of. Then I can take it and organize it and figure out, okay, well, great, I'm picking up to do this. What time of the day am I going to go to that office? Oh, they close at 4:30. Okay, great, I better get there sooner. The balance of that thinking and feeling nature, the head and the heart, then becomes very important to make it practical.
As the Earth's crust shifts and changes, our lives do the same. One way to maneuver through the small and large moments that shake us to the core is by reviving your connection to spirit, gathering ways to cleanse your energy field, embracing spiritual awarenesses to give you a bigger picture, and knowing that you are not alone on your journey can be a great support. The Soulquake Survival Guidebook is a great companion to meet you where you're at and support reviving your connection to spirit in earth-shaking times. Get your copy today through Amazon Worldwide in paperback, ebook, or in audio, and begin embracing more clarity, inner peace, and enthusiasm for your life and what you've come to do.
God, could you imagine, Paul, if we were taught this in school? If kids were brought up knowing about their intuition, knowing about, the intellect and the feeling part, like it would be so, and I guess that's my hope for the future is the fact that, maybe there can be a point where people start sharing with children about their gifts and their abilities. I know you've got grandkids, so,
Yeah.
you see that too with them, right?
Well, I do. And I think that one of the things that I'm also seeing, I know several people who teach school. Susan has taught school. I think that that's going to happen more and more because more than ever, young people, including the little ones, are being stimulated to be creative. That creativity is profound. So if you don't believe that, just take a look at all the reality shows, The Voice, American Idol. So You Think You Can Dance, Dancing with the Stars. It's inspiring, not to mention the kids' programs, like Sesame Street, whatever those are, that inspire the creativity, that inspire the get it out there. Hey, that's beautiful, even though it's outwardly it looks, wow, that's kind of dark looking. But they feel the ability to express. So that's that intuitive part that's going to help them to trust that later on in life. And one of my granddaughters, she is very quick to go to mom and talk about the dream she had the night before and talk about they collaborate together. Well, what could that mean? How could that work? So there's that trust or that instinct. You're talking about past lives earlier. One of the granddaughters, they were in Washington, D.C., and they went through the National Archives where the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution are. And she goes by, she's 8 years old, she goes by, stops and looks at the document, says, Mom, have I been here before? Then, a little later on in the day, they're in the National Natural History Museum, and they're going by all these displays of different cultures and things like that. And they walk by this American Revolution kind of display. I don't know if the founding fathers, any of them were there, but the garb of the day and all that. She stops in front of that one and says, I've been here before, and then walks away.
Wow.
Now, so you don't, oh, that's just your man. Oh, you're making that up, kid, or whatever. No, there's that sense now, more than ever, Teresa, there's a lot of awareness of all this. 70% of people in the United States say they're spiritual, but they're not religious. So there's a happening there, even if we don't realize it, because outwardly it looks like the religiousness is rearing its head and trying to mold you into what they want you to be and so on. But underneath all of that, more and more people are tuning into this idea of, yeah, I trust my intuition. Or sportscasters. I heard a sportscaster the other day. Well, Mike, the aura of the stadium is really vibrating here. I mean, it's out there.
Mm-hmm. It's
going
for
to
sure.
continue to get more and more as we do these shows and connect and get the message there.
Absolutely. So I want to go back a little bit when you were talking about Osceola and going out to the center and connecting with, groups of people that are like-minded, because that's where I started really learning at the Way Shores College, which was called the Inner Peace Movement years ago, how to really, understand all that my sensitivity, my guidance, how to work with everything and give me that bigger picture. So I want to talk about the collaboration with others, because you are on this mission right now of gathering a lot of people together to network and to share and to come together and collaborate. So I'd like you to share a little bit about that journey that you're on at this moment, because it's really profound, Paul.
Yeah, I mean, it's very profound to me. 2 years ago, I didn't even have an imagination that this would be happening. So with my career with the Inner Peace Movement, both locally and nationally, internationally, I met a lot of people and traveled to hundreds of cities. I did hundreds and hundreds of radio, TV, and newspaper interviews. So I got a chance to express out there, sometimes having hundreds of people come to lectures and doing private one-on-ones from morning till night and so on. So I had a chance to see a lot of people. Back then, back in the 60s and 70s, there were very few institutions or organizations that were out there espousing this kind of work. One of the most famous ones was Transcendental Meditation. It was very powerful, very famous. Celebrities got involved in that. The Beatles went to, study in India with the Maharishi and so on. But there were really only just 4 or 5 of those key ones that were what our founder called forerunners. We're forerunners. We're setting the pace. There were others before that. Association for Research and Enlightenment, the ARE program from Edgar Casey. There are other things. The Unity Church of Christianity movement, which is very non-dogmatic. There were predecessors to that. But these were the ones that got out to the public. They did the media work and all that. So what is profound to me today is remembering that statement of we're like forerunners. And now I look at today, tons of people out doing intuitive reading, showing up at expos, massage work, healing, Reiki, all those things that were talked about and actually done in groups, private group settings and so on, or done behind closed doors sometimes because you didn't want the townspeople to know who you are, what you're doing. That's all opened up. So those forerunners, I can't tell you how many people are out there doing their own versions of meditation classes. Thousands of them are giving their offerings. Yoga has reinvigorated itself in the last 15, 20 years. It used to be huge in the colleges back in the 60s and 70s. So things are coming full circle. The only difference is that the circle is much more expansive because of what the forerunners opened up. Like you said earlier, everybody has this. That was the message of our work in the media with the Inner Peace Movement programs. Everybody can do this. It's nothing mystical. There's nothing extra about extrasensory perception. It's very ordinary. So now, because of that movement forward, it's increased the movement. I'm getting goosebumps as we say this. So what, in my work, we have a Facebook group that's almost 9,500 members now, called Empowered Soul Network. Back when I started it, it was 2 members. That was just under 2 years ago. So Sandra and I collaborate and do that. I've interviewed hundreds of people. Sandra has too, from all over the world, 40 plus different countries, tons of different cultures. Nigeria, I was just on the phone just on a podcast, a Zoom meeting yesterday with a guy from Nigeria and a lady from South Africa and one from Pakistan.
Wow.
I mean, I never would have imagined that connection would take place. And here are all these people. They've got their offering. They've got their mission. They want to do this. They want to do that. So what's blown me away, Teresa, is the scope of people out there wanting to be of service. It's by seeing all that, and I learned, for example, there are 800,000 life coaches in the United States.
Wow.
It's incredible. It's just incredible. People giving this shot. Some people, they not be earning many clients or much money or whatever. It doesn't make any difference. They're out there trying. They're out there doing their best to share a message. Oftentimes, the messages are very similar, Teresa, but the messenger is very unique and very different. Just like that oak tree is very unique and different. So I become way more humble about my engagement with people because the Inner Peace Movement, those things were very powerful. Hundreds of thousands of people were involved in all that. The leader of it was a very strong, dynamic, forceful leader. So I grew up idolizing that kind of individual, thinking this is the way, proselytizing it. This is the way to go, and as I've seen what has come full circle. What those guys started back in the 60s and 70s, brought out to the media, this is the result of that. Because now more people feel safe to do something and share their wisdom. Souls incarnating into to do their spiritual work. It's happening like never before. So planet Earth is evolving as a school, whether people realize it or not. They look at all the negativity, but actually it's evolving in terms of its service as a school. It's never going to be utopian because the school has to continue to grow and learn, but until it changes its whole mission. But that's what's happened. Is I am honored. I get excited every time I meet somebody new. I did 2 interviews this week, both ladies from the Holland, Netherlands. The energy of the Netherlands, there's something unique about that that's different than even next door France or Belgium or Germany, and also reaching out to all these people. It's inspired me to continue to boldly go where I haven't gone yet, Teresa, because now I've got a strong desire and calling to go to the Netherlands, to go to this. I can feel that there are people there for me to connect to. So that's what's happening. It's with the work that you do, bringing on people to share. We need more of that. We need to continue to have outlets for people to give their service and tell their stories and so on. And it's an honor. And I'm humbled by being able to do that. It excites me spiritually, enthusiastically.
Whether you are a brand new or returning fan of this podcast, we appreciate you. We appreciate you listening to the episodes that we create every single week. If you would love to support us by continually creating great content every week, please consider liking, subscribing, and supporting us monthly. You can find the buttons below to do all the above. Cheers to you and moving into our 6th year of sharing through podcasting. Oh, that's so awesome, Paul, because the thing that comes to me about what you just shared is the fact that the consistency and not giving up on something that you're passionate about, which some people do. They, oh, this isn't working, so go that way. But just the consistency and showing up when the call is there, which you've done your whole life. So that's so amazing.
Well, I know you know this. It's important for me to stay clear on what it is that I'm getting out of it, because that's going to impel me to move forward because I want more. I want more growth. So what did I learn today? What might I do differently next time? What was real good in a highlight? Like at the end of this, I will regroup this. What were the highlights for me in fulfillment about doing that podcast with Teresa? What were some of the things that I learned? What were the things that I might change and shift or add to in the next interview that I do? So that staying on top of the value of my experiences is so, so important.
Absolutely.
Feel free.
Right, absolutely. So in the conclusion of this podcast, Paul, I'd love for you to share what is one key to staying enthusiastic about life that you've learned along your path that you'd like to share with the listeners. One key, Paul.
Take action on one simple thing that fascinates you. Go do it.
Well said. And I got chills on that. So that's a good one. So Paul, how can people reach you to connect with you?
Well, in Facebook, we do a lot of work in Facebook. Our group, at which people are welcome to join and come and be a part. We can raise your hand to be interviewed if you want, so on. Love to do that. It's called Empowered Soul Network. Empowered Soul Network. And then there are 2 websites that we have that people can visit. One is called riseinexcellence.com. riseinexcellence.com. And the other one that Susan and I work with together is called Soul Powered Living, soulpoweredliving.com. We're still adding to those websites, building them. I'm having fun with the adventure of kind of building my website myself, seeing if I can make that adventure come alive. So I'm learning a lot about that. But those are 2 places. And then, of course, direct message me. And in those websites, there's contact phone and email information as well.
Great. And I'll put all that in the show notes. So thank you so much, Paul. It's been such a pleasure having you on today. I so appreciate you.
Oh, great. We've been talking about doing this for a while, and it's just such a you got a great show, great energy with it. So thank you so much for you sharing with me, Teresa. Appreciate it.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that episode with Paul Kellogg, one of my wonderful soul brothers out there in the world. And I'll have again all of his information in the show notes that you can check out how to connect with Paul and what he's doing and some amazing things he's involved with online, on Facebook especially. So thanks again for listening to another episode of Enthusiastically Spiritual. And just remember that life is too short to not be enthusiastic about your unique journey. To keep the enthusiasm going, please like, subscribe, or comment below. We would love to hear from you.